Sweet the whispers in your ear whenever ember wanders near.
Let's do the kind of consensual. So this is one that I was debating on doing. This is one I was debating doing yesterday, and instead we did the other one. This one, I'm really curious about this one because it's basically bringing up the question of will Bitcoin replace the US dollar? And I'm interested because I'm really curious what Nick's take on this is. If anybody's going to have anything interesting to say about Bitcoin, I think it's going to be Nick. And I'm really curious what he has to say about this because my feeling has always been that that Bitcoin right now cannot replace the US dollar for a couple of reasons. One, the primary one being that Bitcoin, that cryptocurrency in and of itself, I feel is way too unstable. I feel like I feel like the cryptocurrency right now, there's there's supposedly like quote unquote stable coins, but I feel like in and of itself, cryptocurrency is more stocks than it is actual currency, and it doesn't have enough stability to replace the US dollar in its current form. Now, could eventually it evolve to something that could replace the US dollar? Maybe, but for the foreseeable future, it's not going to work. The way it functions right now, it will not work as a replacement currency. It is just way too volatile. But I'm curious what the boys have to say about it.
Is anybody following what's going on with the Federal Reserve?
No.
I'm trying to.
Kinda. I think a little.
Well, so typically, and by typically I mean fucking always, one chairman of the Federal Reserve steps down, and then the new guy takes his place.
Okay.
The Trump-backed guy is becoming the chairman of the Federal Reserve in, I believe, 3 days from the time of this recording.
Okay.
And Jerome Powell, the current chairman of the Federal Reserve, has said he's not leaving. And apparently nobody can make him leave. So I don't know what the is happening. I've been trying to figure it out
Shit.
today. I'm horribly unversed in how the Federal Reserve works besides.
Wait. Oh God, is the current Federal Reserve put in place by the previous administration? Are we having someone that is basically claiming he's going to refuse to leave because of political reasons? Oh, are you fucking kidding me right now? God damn it. I'm so sick of this bullshit. I am so sick of the political pissing contests. Like, this shit has to stop. Okay, enough of the pissing contests, enough of the dick measuring contests. Just run the fucking country for fuck's sake. Like, seriously, running the country is a complex job, but realistically, it ain't that fucking hard if you actually just do the fucking thing. God damn it.
It's me, but
I've had to relearn the point of the Federal Reserve every time that I talk about it. Like, literally, I've had to relearn and reread exactly what it does and what it was meant to do and why some people didn't like it. I think like 5 or 6 times. Because I read it, I go, oh yeah, that's dumb. And then I brain dump it.
it's insane.
Don't get me wrong. I do agree with some of the things, like a lot of the things that this current administration is doing, but do you ever get the feeling that he just says and does shit just because, like, no one stopped him? Like, I'm just curious, like, at that point, like, you can just do shit.
I legitimately believe he's intentionally trying to crash the US dollar.
Really?
Why?
What's the easy? He's obsessed with cryptocurrency.
Okay.
His son owns American Bitcoin, which is a Bitcoin mining operation that has.
You've got the head of the Federal Reserve who loves crypto and his son has a crypto company. Fuck me. Are you fucking kidding me? God damn it.
Went from being a startup to being in, I believe, the top 15 largest Bitcoin reserves in the world. Like they're passing people left and right for accruing Bitcoin.
Yeah, wasn't it the
And-
Trump administration and not the Biden that was trying to create like a Bitcoin reserve?
No, they did create it. And currently, the only thing that it does right now is whenever the federal government confiscates Bitcoin related to crime, they put it in the Bitcoin reserve. Because the federal government had done this before and they turned around and sold it. And this is when Bitcoin was like $8,000 or whatever. So then they're like, oh, if we would have sat on it, it would have been billions of dollars. But instead it wasn't. So that's what the Bitcoin reserve is doing right now. But he created the Bitcoin reserve.
Okay, and here's part of the problem. The Bitcoin, I don't think, is going to climb like that ever again. Like the jump we saw from where he was talking about where like Bitcoin went, years ago when Bitcoin like had that big jump where it basically went from like one to $8,000, and then it jumped to like a couple $100,000 or something like that. You're not going to see that jump again because it did that jump because it was niche. Because Bitcoin was niche, you saw that significant increase when it started to gain popularity. That's when you saw that increase. It started making that jump from like maybe a couple grand per Bitcoin to tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars in Bitcoin. That's when it made a jump because when people started to recognize like, oh, this is something I should buy into it. People started buying into the Bitcoin. The value went up. Now, you disagree? I mean, that's fine. It's my feeling is now that it's become normalized, that Bitcoin has become almost commonplace, the value of it will not get that high anymore. The value is going to come back down to a more normalized value. It's not going to be that high anymore. And but again, it's still the price of it fluctuates like way more than the US dollar does, and it's very unstable. The fact is, I still recall hearing about when Bitcoin like went through the price of Bitcoin went through the floor because Elon made a fucking tweet about it. Okay, I do not want a national currency to be so unstable that a simple tweet can send it through the floor. That doesn't make for a stable economy. And that's the problem with Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is its stability hinges on the same as if it were stocks. And it can basically go to fucking zero for any reason. Whereas, regular US currency, like the regular US currency, it still has like issues with it. I'm not saying the US currency, it doesn't have issues. We've seen the movements in it, in recent years where like the value of it is kind of fluctuated, but it hasn't dropped to zero. Bitcoin, because it functions more like stocks than it does currency, the possibilities of it flatlining are so much higher than the US dollar. And any currencies relative to others can't remove that. Yeah. So it's just, I mean, what you guys are saying about the gold standard needs to come back, absolutely. And we need to absolutely bring back the gold standard. But I don't think we're going to because now they're just so fucking locked in on what they are. Stupidly, they're not going to go back to the gold standard, which they should. It's just alternative perspective. Would Bitcoin drop that far from a tweet if it actually were treated as currency? Potentially speaking, yeah. Because if you basically do a direct swap, like okay, the U.S. dollar no longer exists, the U.S. currency is now Bitcoin, and they don't, and they're not changing anything about how it works. Yes, it potentially could. That's the problem is, they would need to do a massive level of overhaul into how Bitcoin functions at its core in order for it to become the currency. And I just don't think that A, the US has the wherewithal to actually do that. And B, I don't trust the government to be able to do it properly. That's a big thing. I do not trust the United States government to be able to facilitate transitioning from the US dollar to Bitcoin properly. I just don't trust it. It's I own a lot of Bitcoin as well as other crypto coins. Bitcoin's trading between 61,650 and 61,607 right now. It's fluctuating because Europe and Asia is opening their trading day. Yeah. And it's just I don't trust it. It's not proven to be adequately stable. And I damn sure don't trust the US government adopting it as the national currency because I don't trust the US government to actually I don't trust the US government to find their to wipe their ass. Okay? I damn sure don't trust them to change over an entire currency from the US dollar to Bitcoin without them royally fucking it and the entire populace over.
Son owns a Bitcoin company. He's super into fucking crypto, and I legitimately think that he's gonna like. How do you get rid of what are we $38 trillion? Or is it
Yep, somewhere up there,
38
yeah.
Yeah, 38, $39 trillion. Like, how do you get rid of that? You can't. We're literally upside down on it. Like, we don't collect enough taxes
Yeah.
to service the debt on that anymore.
Yes.
So the only way to
That's-
be able
yeah.
to get out from underneath that is to devalue the dollar, make the US dollar worth less, and then it's easy to pay off. It's like,
Dude, even if it goes down that route, won't they also have to do the gold, like show even Fort Knox gold?
well, so
There's
this
a whole
is
bunch of shit that
this is the
fucks
other
us.
thing. So BRICS,
Wait, that Bitcoin won't replace the dollar. Congress already made it illegal for the Federal Reserve to create a central bank digital dollar to replace the greenback. There you go.
everything revolves around the petrodollar, right? So America's had supremacy with our currency since World War II because it's the petrodollar. If you want to buy oil on the global stage, you have to convert your currency to the US dollar, and then you have to buy the oil, right? So we're forcing the rest of the world to carry US dollars, which allows us to offload our debt. Right? Because if Great Britain has to have $10 billion, whatever amount of money, $10 billion of US currency so that they can buy oil, and our currency is experiencing inflation, they're losing value of their $10 billion, right? So it's basically a way for us to offload our debt due to excessive spending on the entire globe instead of just ourselves. Well, this is coming to an end. The petrodollar is going to end soon. And what BRICS is doing, which is China, Russia, all the non-friendly US countries, is they're buying up all the gold. And what China's doing right now is they're establishing what they call the gold highway. So the problem with having a gold-backed standard for a different global currency is that requires a shit ton of trust of whatever country's holding all the gold, right? Because if everybody's like, oh yeah, we'll give all our gold to China, well, then China tells you to go fuck yourself unless you got a big enough army to go take it. So China is establishing different Fort Knox, so to speak, different spots to hold all this gold across a bunch of different countries all over the world. And they're going to try to convince everybody to use Chinese currency that is backed dollar for dollar to gold. So they're going for a gold-based currency. And I think the US is going to push for a crypto-backed currency instead.
And then hopefully it's America crypto. What is it?
No.
American Bitcoin, which owns,
There it
it's
is.
like over 8,000 Bitcoin currently. And it's like, look, all I'm saying is if I knew that I was going to push for the new global reserve currency to be
So, hello, Samson. Hello, Raiders. Welcome in. Welcome in. How was your stream? How you doing? We are learning about some Bitcoin stuff with Kind of Consensual and Nick the Fat Electrician explaining, talking about is Bitcoin going to become the currency of the US? How was your stream? Did you have a good time? Did you have a good time? Welcome in. Won't you join us? And let's see if we can get a little educated about when it comes to maybe swapping out the US dollar with crypto.
and is if I knew that I was going to push for the new global reserve currency to be Bitcoin 5 years ahead of time, yeah, I would tell my son to start mining some fucking Bitcoin, because what do you think is going to happen to the price of Bitcoin if the federal government says, hey, this is the new global reserve currency? It's going to go through the roof.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it wouldn't hurt.
So are you saying buy Bitcoin? Is what you're telling me?
I'm
No,
not.
there's a-
I'm not telling you to do anything. I'm just saying I
Do
legitimately.
research.
I legitimately think
Yeah.
it's not even necessarily Trump. I think the plan has been for a very long time to run up the national debt and then intentionally devalue the dollar. So the dollar's worth 100th of what it was. Cool. We owe 100th of $39 trillion now instead of $39 trillion. We get out of our debt.
We can never pay that off. Just as you said, the interest is impossible.
I
And then
want
we're
to know.
going up to how much by
This is
We-
this is actually kind of scary what Nick is talking about, because in a short term, by doing that, I could see that royally fucking up the global economy. Like it makes sense, but there's gonna be a lot of pain in the if they do that. Except it won't become a global reserve. The world reserve currency requires a consensus. Maybe, but you're also forgetting that America does what the fuck it wants. Like that we've been on the path of America is just going to do what America does. And if they do this changeover for, like, if they devalue the dollar to 1/100th of what it is in order to change over to a crypto-backed currency, maybe they can do it. It's going to cause, at minimum, countrywide upheaval. Realistically, it's going to cause global upheaval because, like it or not, the US is a huge part of the world economy. The wealthy will be fine, sure, because the wealthy have all their money in stocks. They have all their money in stocks and properties. They're like the wealthy don't have their cash. The wealthy don't have liquid cash. They have like they have, you know, stocks, they have bonds, they have properties. That's how the wealthy maintains their wealth. For the average person, it's gonna fuck them over, I think, if they do that. Because can they do this changeover? Maybe. They might be able to facilitate doing this changeover from the petrodollar to the crypto, devalue the paper dollar, dive into crypto. It's gonna fuck over a lot of people, and it's going to cause a worldwide upheaval. I think doing that may crash some economies. Legitimately, like that would be my fear. Is it will, like, there are so many countries right now that are kind of dependent upon the US dollar for their own economy. If the US does this, I could see it crashing other nations' economies. This is like, if it's pretty fucking scary to think about them doing this. And then there's the whole thing of like, okay, well, a cryptocurrency, like a Bitcoin is valued at, however many tens of thousands of dollars right now. How the hell is this going to work for the average person? How the hell are they going to convert Bitcoin into a currency that the average person is going to be able to use? It's like just even trying to think of how they could do this logistically is making my fucking head spin of how they could do this level of transition. The bottom line is it's gonna fuck over the regular citizens, like, in a massive fucking way. It is, and that's the scary part.
We talked about a little bit Social Security problem on top of everything else. That alone will.
None of this matters until the budget gets balanced. The budget's never gonna get balanced. I'm telling you right now, unless they actually cripple the US dollar to reduce the amount of debt that the US has, thereby basically fucking over the world economy, the US budget will never be fixed. Because there's no way they can overcome, being $38 trillion underwater. It's not going to happen. So, and yeah, they're not trying to fix it. That's another key noted distinction. The U.S. government is not trying to fix the U.S. debt. They're only adding to it. There are zero efforts right now to balance the budget and to bring the debt down. They're not. They don't fucking care. They're just like, for the last 20, 25 fucking years minimum, there's been absolutely no care about balancing the budget and addressing the debt, because the debt has only gone higher. How many times, how many times have we said, have we seen where basically, the government gets shut down in the last like 10, 15 years? How many government shutdowns have we seen where where the end result is, the end result is that they basically said, okay, we will agree to raise the debt. The end result always has been raise the debt, raise the debt, raise the debt. Yeah, Clinton was the last president to balance the budget was Clinton. He was the last president that was able to actually facilitate balancing the budget. Ever since then, the debt has gone up, up, up. Congress votes, okay, we'll balloon the debt. Okay, we'll balloon the debt over and over and over again. It's never going to be balanced. We are now so deep in the fucking hole. The only way the budget gets balanced, the only way the debt gets addressed right now is literally an economic crash that zeroes out the debt. That will destroy millions of lives. So that is like right now, that is the only way the United States is able to clear its debt, balance its budget, is by literally crashing the fucking economy and zeroing it all out. And again, that will literally destroy millions of lives in America. Not to mention what it does to the world economy. We're until we actually start until the US government actually starts actively trying to address the debt and the budget, it's never going to fix. It's like at this point, the debt is kind of like the debt at this point is kind of gone the route of whose line is it anyway, where the points are made up and don't matter. Okay, the debt's at $38 trillion. Okay, who's going to call in that debt? Next budget, it's only going to go up again. Next budget, it's only going to go up again. And then the idea of switching to Bitcoin, yeah, as someone said, how many Bitcoin scams are out there right fucking now? Like the Bitcoin scams are probably that has become the new thing for scammers. They're they're still doing okay, send me a bank transfer, sure. But now they're all transitioning to go to your Bitcoin ATM because there's Bitcoin ATMs fucking everywhere. So now it's all about the Bitcoin scams. And it's just, oh my, it's just, we're not looking at a good methodology either way. Either maintaining where we are, we're still running it, we still have the same problems we already have. If you go into Bitcoin, we've got even bigger and more insane problems, especially when it comes to transitioning over them. And it's just, we in the shit is what it boils down to. We are just in the shit right now. And honestly, we will not be climbing out of it in our lifetime and probably the next generation's lifetime too.
Social Security problem on top of everything else, that alone will put us to a $52 trillion debt by 2032.
Who are we in debt to? I'm not even being a smartass. Like who? Did other countries buy our debt? Like what? How did we end up in debt?
Other countries buy U.S. bonds.
Okay, so if they ever try and collect on those, we take.
Well, that's when they talk about us having to service the debt. Basically, we're in debt because, okay, America's got a $1 trillion deficit this year. So we're going to issue $1 trillion worth of bonds. And those bonds get bought up by people, us. You can go buy a bond from a bank, right? But they also get bought up by countries. And the big one that buys a lot of U.S. bonds is Japan. And American bonds right now are seen as the safest investment on the planet because we have to pay it. It's the global reserve currency, right? But bonds have interest, right? So if Japan buys up $1 trillion worth of U.S. bonds, okay, cool, we get our $1 trillion that we need this year, but we also have to pay them back $1 trillion plus interest. So we have to service the interest. That's what I was saying earlier, where it's like the amount of taxes that we collect isn't even enough to service the interest we owe anymore. So it is now impossible for us to pay down the debt because we can't even keep up with the interest.
Okay, here's an idea. I just thought of this. There is a way that the U.S. government can use crypto to deal with the debt and still maintain the U.S. dollar. You maintain the U.S. dollar as it stands, but you keep collecting the Bitcoin, you put that into the reserve, and you use the Bitcoin, keep collecting the Bitcoin the way they've been doing, maybe even have, some parts of the government do Bitcoin mining, and then use the Bitcoin to pay off debts. You maintain the US dollar, and then maybe if you can garner enough Bitcoin, the Bitcoin, if depending on its value, maybe the Bitcoin could be used to pay off the debt, some of the debt that the US has been accumulating. Now, I have no idea if the amount, see, that's, what's the current value? What's the current value of Bitcoin? Does anybody know what the current value of one Bitcoin is? Anybody know off the top of your head? 61K? All right, hang on. All right, let me quick math this. All right, so Nick's gonna be about 8,000 Bitcoin. So right now, I mean, it's not much. All right, so basically they have 488 million in Bitcoin, which is nothing. So if they can, so they would need to substantially. So I know Bitcoin speculation asset value is because it fluctuates wildly. I know that's exactly why I don't like Bitcoin, is because its asset value is a fucking roller coaster. It's why I won't get into crypto, why I don't trust it. It's like they would need to start mining for a fuck ton of Bitcoin to put into this Bitcoin reserve to make it useful to start paying off the debts. Because right now they like probably the Bitcoin they have won't even pay the interest off. It's just. It was a 72K the last check. Yeah, which is still not enough. Like, if they could actually start mining Bitcoin like crazy, the U.S. government, then maybe they could get enough Bitcoin in there that they could start actually, like, utilizing that for paying off debt, perhaps. Maybe that would work. I don't know. That could be incredibly stupid for all I know. I'm just trying to come up with something that can be done to alleviate this debt.
It's like a runaway credit card.
It's the problem with, and Nick said it yesterday, they kicked the can so far down the road, like they'll handle that problem with Social Security or whatever. So Social Security and Medicare shortfall over the long time horizon will be projected to hit $58 to $100 trillion in the next decade because of those policies.
God.
That's
God.
Have I ever told you guys I fucking hate FDR?
Oh, wait, U.S. currently owns 328,000. Wait, Nick said 8,000. Wait, I thought Nick said that they only had 8,000 Bitcoin in the reserve. They've got that many? All right, let me redo these numbers then. Hang on. 328,372 times 61,000. Okay, so they've actually got a substantial amount of, money through Bitcoin if they've got 328,000 Bitcoin in his possession of millions more at seas. Okay. So if they've got, they sold the original ones, but I mean, okay, so be it, they sold the original ones. Like, theoretically, maybe this could work if they use the Bitcoin to start paying down debt. Maybe, I don't know. Again, I'm just trying to come up with something. I am not an economist, okay? I've never professed to be an economist. I am a layperson when it comes to the economy. So I am taking this. So anybody watching this, I'm nowhere near professing. I'm nowhere near, professing to being any kind of an expert on the economy or economics. I am not. I'm basically a layperson just trying to basically work off of basic logic to try and figure out what the fuck can be done. So it's like 21 million total Bitcoin, 19.99 million already mined, so only 1 million left. Yeah, but just like with US currency, who's to say that more Bitcoin can't be created? That's the other side of the equation. Bitcoin is simply a digital currency. You don't think that they can just create more Bitcoin? Because they can. If they actually turned it into a currency, I guarantee you, they would just like create new. They would just like create new Bitcoin, just like they can print more money. Yeah. There's a limit. There's a limit now. If the government was to say, oh, all of a sudden go Bitcoin is our currency, you don't think they would basically remove that limit and just start creating Bitcoin? Guarantee there was. It's just like money. It's just like printing more money. They need more money, they print more money. It's the same damn thing. Yeah, Bitcoin is capped now. If the government says Bitcoin is now our currency, you don't think that Bitcoin has a hard-coded limit? You don't think that they're going to try and change that? If the government wants Bitcoin to become the national currency, you don't think that they're going to change that hard code? You don't think that they're going to create their own, or even like create their own freaking currency or something? It's the United States government. Just because Bitcoin is hard coded doesn't mean that they're not going to get someone in there to change that. Oh, I know it would drive down its value. That's the problem. That's exactly what I'm talking about. But where that is the problem, is that it would drive down the value. It's like, you know, that's like this is where I'm talking about, where it's just like completely screwed, where it's completely fucked. There's no good way out of this. And that if they do try and transition to Bitcoin, they can't. They can fork it and create a new branch of Bitcoin with a new cap, but the original Bitcoin will have that hard limit. Maybe. I mean, who knows? I'm guessing there's people in the government that are like, there's probably computer geeks looking into this on, in the government that are probably trying to figure something out. Who knows what the hell they can do? I don't know. I don't freaking know. It's all I know is it's going to be a shit show if they try to do this.
Have I ever said that?
What did Nick say?
That's terrifying.
Have I ever told you guys I fucking hate FDR? Have I ever said that?
Yeah, several times.
Huge fan.
Several times. Do you think that they're gonna confiscate everyone's Bitcoin like FDR did with gold?
You can't.
Oh yeah, I guess you're right.
What are you gonna do? Go door to door and guess 27 unique words? Eat a dick.
Well, they could probably shut down like Bitcoin wallets or like trading and stuff like that.
No, you can't. That's the whole
Like,
point
it's
of Bitcoin.
fucking-
It's a decentralized network.
I'm
It
not
lives
saying that you
out
could
in the-
shut it down
it's
totally.
gone.
Like, was it Nixon that got rid of the gold standard, or did Nixon want to bring it back? Who got rid of the gold
yeah, who
standard?
got-
Was it FDR?
It might have been
No,
Nixon because it was around the
FDR is
Vietnam
one-
area.
FDR is the one that confiscated the gold.
All right, well, so let's go with FDR confiscating the
Fucking
gold, right?
wild.
He didn't confiscate
Wild.
all of it, and he couldn't possibly confiscate all of it. So I don't think that the U.S. government would be able to confiscate all Bitcoin, but could it put some sort of like hold, or you can't
No.
buy anymore, or try to limit it in some form or fashion? I mean, if Canada can shut down banks on people, I don't see how the U.S. government can't like shut down websites that buy and sell trade
They can
Bitcoin
they
in
can
the United
shut
States.
they can shut down like Coinbase and stuff and tell them they're not allowed to operate in the country anymore. But like,
Yeah, that they could do.
you can still get it. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, you can still get gold too. I'm not saying it's a complete shutdown. I'm saying that if they can do it with gold, then there's got to be a potential in some form or fashion where they can funnel down the amount of people that are buying Bitcoin to prevent them from buying more Bitcoin if they see it as a way out. Like, hey, this isn't, we need to like limit the average Joe is not keen on how to purchase Bitcoin. So if you can mitigate.
Rich has it right. How do you mean Rich has it right? Where they're basically talking about like basically doing like one thing I can see the U.S. doing is trying to basically IP block repositories. They will control Bitcoin. How are they going to be able to control the Bitcoin? Unless the U.S. literally buys up unless the U.S. either buys up or takes possession of all the Bitcoin, then I don't think that they're going to be able to control it. They would need to basically the U.S. government would need to possess the predominant amount of Bitcoins and basically hold them in order to control it. And like forcing people to give up their Bitcoin unless the only way I could see them doing it, which would be illegal, would be basically the government to say, give up your Bitcoin or we're going to put you in prison. If you can only legally use it through their system, they control it. Well, okay. Yeah, okay, I see where you're going with that. Is where basically in the US, you're only able to use Bitcoin through approved governmental systems. And they basically ban they basically IP block any and all Bitcoin systems from functioning in the US except for theirs. And it's the US basically implements their own system for facilitating the use of Bitcoin. And you as a U.S. citizen, you can only use the U.S.'s systems to utilize your Bitcoin in any way, and then they can control it in that way, I suppose. Same as payment processors. Yeah, so basically it's essentially swapping out like Visa, MasterCard, and debit payment processing with Bitcoin processing, but controlled by the U.S. government. Yeah, ugh. But that's a slippery that now we're getting into basically authoritarianism in terms of we're towing. I think that would get into towing that line of authoritarian control regarding people's ability to use their money. So I don't know how the hell they can facilitate that. It's okay. I don't know. I mean, like I'm freely gonna admit I'm not all that well read in on crypto, so I am kind of grasping at straws a little bit here. I am like I'll freely admit I'm a little bit out of my depth. I'm not trying to sound like I don't know if I'm trying to sound like I know what I'm talking about because I'm not trying to make that impression. I'm not trying to say like I'm the authority on what this. I'm just trying to basically work this through, trying to talk this out in my head and work through the logic of what's happening, or how to go, how to address this, not being read in stuff like this. So what was that? There's hang on. There is the problem too of how trackable your purchases are with Bitcoin once they know what your wallet ID is. Yeah, that's also a big problem. Although okay, let's be real. They're already working on trying to do that with like ID laws or with like they're trying to do that with online purchases already. Like don't forget that there are states like California that are basically making it law that every computer you buy, the digital ID. Yeah, like there are states like California that are already putting it into law that when you buy a computer, there's digital ID baked in. So they're already, certain states are already working on trying to track your purchase, at least online. That's already in play, and that's coming. That's going to be widespread before too long. Like digital ID, as much as we might hate it, it is coming, and there is going to be no stopping it. Eventually, digital ID will be the law of the land. Probably like throughout the world. It's going to happen and there will be no stopping it. You can fight it all you want, you can hate it all you want, but the days of the Wild West internet are coming to an end, and that's just how it is. And I hate to tell you, I hate to be a downer on this, but everybody is going to have to do digital ID, like throughout the entire world. Linux got an exemption from that ID law in California. I thought Linux did not get the exemption. I thought that was a big point of contention, is that Linux did not get an exemption to that ID law in California. Maybe I'm wrong, but I thought that was a big thing that people were pissing on, is that even Linux systems had to do the digital ID law.
We need to like limit the average Joe is not keen on how to purchase Bitcoin. So if you can mitigate, stop, prevent 90% of people from buying Bitcoin because you've got two obstacles in the way, like that's going to prevent it.
Well, right. But the problem is what you're saying is true. Yes. But it's not something that you're buying in the sense of I can just go buy new Bitcoin. Like, yeah, there's still some Bitcoin being mined, but most of all of the Bitcoin that is ever going to exist is already in existence right now. Right. So
yeah, like it re-ups in like 3020 or something like that in like 100 years.
Yeah. Right. But it's like a small amount that's left, and that's just because the value is now significantly greater. But it's like I don't know the exact amount. It's like 90% or more of all the Bitcoin that's ever going to exist currently exists. So all the Bitcoin that you buy is just Bitcoin that's being transferred. And there's nothing the US government can do to stop Bitcoin wallets from transferring Bitcoin between themselves.
Yep, that's true.
It's all decentralized nodes all over the world.
I mean, we don't even know.
This is upsetting the cop.
Creator.
The cop is like, what do you mean? What do you mean I can't get a warrant? Stop it.
No. Like, if CoffeeZilla can stalk every single purchase and trade of Bitcoin, what would stop the U.S. government from doing the same thing, going to your house and saying, "Give us
Yeah.
a Bitcoin, or we're going to arrest you"? Like, I don't see like that. There's a stop there. I think
Side
that
note,
U.S. government
CoffeeZilla is having a fun time.
is he? What,
I don't even
is
know what the hell
something-
CoffeeZilla
is. That sarcastic or real? What do you mean he's having a fun time? Like,
Nick had my
Well,
favorite
I don't-
quote I've ever heard yesterday. It was CoffeeZilla went into a debate and learned something during the debate.
Which is
And as
What?
Nick says, when you're learning something during a debate, not a good thing.
what happened?
You
he had, in my opinion, he had a bad outing in a debate.
What was the debate? Why are we
he was
talking
talking-
around it?
He was
Stop, Nick! For fuck's sake, stop edging us and tell us what happened. I want to know what happened with coffee. Goddammit!
talking about, because it's very complicated. Do you know what stretch is? No, you don't. I'll explain it to
No.
you. Do you know what MicroStrategy is? Michael
It's
Saylor's.
a small strategy.
No.
It's a very
It's-
small strategy, actually.
It's Michael Saylor's.
Micro.
It's Michael Saylor's Bitcoin company.
Okay.
Okay, so Michael Saylor's Bitcoin
Okay.
company came out with a new financial product called Stretch, and this financial product is basically it's backed by Bitcoin held in his reserves, and if you buy this stock or this financial product, they intentionally make sure that the product is between $99 and $100 at all times. So
Mhm.
you can always get in and get out very closely to what you got in or got out at.
Yeah.
And while your money is in there, they pay 11% APR.
Okay.
So it's like a very, very
Okay.
high interest savings account, and it's backed by Bitcoin.
Okay.
There's another company that's doing something identical, and CoffeeZilla was claiming that it's a Ponzi scheme because they're paying the interest of people that have been in longer off with new people that are coming in and buying the product. And they
Okay.
bring on an actual like economist analyst that works in this market, and he basically explains to him it's not a Ponzi scheme because there's a reserve asset, which is literally the separating factor between a Ponzi scheme and everything else. Ponzi
Yeah.
schemes aren't
Huh.
backed by anything,
Mm-hmm.
whereas
Okay.
this is still being backed by a massive amount of Bitcoin. And it's like an hour and a half long argument, and it did not go well for coffee, in my opinion. So that's about
I mean, if that's true, then you know what? Eating coffee can have an off day. Eating coffee can have an off day. No one's perfect. You know, it's not like he has any and all knowledge of everything crypto. So he had an off day. It happens.
it.
never learn during a
And
debate. And coffee's really sharp. It's just very complex. This is not something simple.
Yeah, he's super intelligent, but it's like this is one of those things where you have to be years and years of knowing what's going on to even engage in the terminology of the debate. Like, I'm pretty read into crypto and stocks and everything, and even I was struggling to keep up with the conversation. But the guy he was debating basically draws a comparison to insurance. And he's like, well, you buy insurance. Is insurance a Ponzi scheme? And Coffee's like, well, no, insurance isn't a Ponzi scheme. And he goes, why? Well, because you're buying insurance, you're buying a product. And he goes, yeah, this is a financial product and you're buying it. And he's like, well, that's different. And he's like, how?
Yeah, yes, guys, I know. We're on this.
You're buying a financial contract. This is a financial contract. It's the same thing. Insurance, when you buy an insurance policy, is backed by the lump sum of money that they've accrued. And if X happens, you get your payout. Same thing what we're doing here. And you can, like, I don't know. I think you can see the moment where it clicks in Coffee's head. He's like, oh shit, he's right. And it didn't go very well, I don't think.
I'm gonna start putting cash in my mattress, man. I can't even keep up with that shit. You already lost me. I'm like glazed over.
Well, Ethan, the problem is if they switch to Bitcoin, the money in your mattress isn't gonna be worth anything. That's a bad lead if they're actually going to Bitcoin. That money will only be good worth to wipe your ass with.
Rise here, man. I
just-
don't know what the
I
going on.
just
Don't put cash in there. Buy gold. Didn't you listen to him? We're gonna crash
Yeah.
the dollar. That's just
I
gonna
just
be
said
totally
we're gonna
different.
crash
Yeah.
the dollar. Don't sit on cash.
Yeah, put Bitcoin in your mattress.
Yes.
And you know how you do that? Is you take a plug and you cut off the end of it, right? So then you got the 2 wires. And then you shove those into your mattress. And then you take the other end of the plug
God.
and you plug it into the wall. So that way the Bitcoin can travel
Rich.
from the electricity in the wall to your mattress.
You know, Rich,
That's
you
how you
should
store it.
probably make a disclaimer because you know there's gonna be a house fire. You're gonna be named. You should do a disclaimer, Rich.
He's
That's
probably
just what I'm
right.
told. I'm not telling people to do it.
okay.
I'm saying
okay.
I'm told.
Oh,
From what I've gathered about Bitcoin, it's in the walls. So
it's in the walls.
it's in the walls. You need a
It's in
magic
the
box to
fucking
get it from the
walls.
electricity that lives in the walls. Nick knows this. He's an electric man. Nick knows how to get the electricity out of the walls. Nick knows how to get the
Electric man.
Bitcoin in your mattress.
Can we talk about? Okay. So like I've been into crypto for a long time, and
I can tell.
I love the arguments about Bitcoin. Like the people that don't like it, they're like, it's stupid. It doesn't. It's not anything. It's not backed by anything. It's just worth something because you said it's worth something.
That's
I'm
it.
like,
Paper.
welcome to the U.S. dollar, homie.
Yeah.
It's not backed by anything. It's not
Yeah.
backed by gold. And then you get all the
I
people
mean, this
that
is
are
true.
like, no, you should buy gold instead because gold is always going to be there and you could use it in the apocalypse. And it's like, bro,
No, because even in the apocalypse, gold will only have value if people ascribe value to it. Okay, you want to know the perfect example of how currency has value? Fallout. What's the currency in Fallout? Caps. Bottle caps. Bottle caps is the currency in Fallout. Literally just aluminum bottle caps is what is the currency in Fallout. Why? Because humanity ascribed a value to bottle caps, saying, okay, we're going to say that this is money now. That's literally how all currency works, is you basically, humanity or a country chooses thing and says, thing is now valuable. Thing is now currency. And you basically just need to accept, the society of either the world and post-apocalyptic thing or a country basically universally comes together and goes, okay, we ascribe X amount of value to thing. And that's it. That is how currency has always been throughout the history of humanity.
I'm not trying to be a dick, but if there's an apocalypse and you're trying to shave off metal flakes for me, get fucked. It's all about food, water, and bullets at that point. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, during COVID, it was toilet paper. You know.
And,
And bullets.
if there's no
True.
electricity, how are you going to use Bitcoin? Most places don't even take cash anymore. Have you tried? It's fucking impossible.
Most people
That's
don't
not my
carry
experience.
cash.
Walk
people
up,
don't.
walk up to the average.
I gotta say, that's not my experience. In my experience, every place, like 90% of any place that I go to get anything, will still take cash. There's only been a few select things where it's been like basically a debit transfer or direct bank transfer. Everywhere else I have ever gone, in fact, some places only take cash. I have gone to some place I went rose heating last weekend with my family. They do cash only. No debit, no credit. Literally, it is a cash only place. So, and now, so I disagree with Nick on that one. There are still, like, the vast majority of businesses do still take cash.
Have you ever been to a store and they lose power or they lose their internet and they just shut down for the day?
Yep.
I've had it
Not
happen.
in Waffle House.
I've been at coffee shops and the coffee shop, their internet goes down and they're like, I guess your coffee's free. I'm like, okay.
Really?
Yes, Richard.
Rich.
Yes, to the man in the front.
We don't have the penny made anymore. How do I pay for something that's 97 cents and get my change back?
You
I don't know how that works. I'm scared.
Oh, I never thought about that.
Dude, Canada solved that a long time ago. Seriously, Canada solved that a long fucking time ago. No, what they do is they round it. That's what Canada did. When Canada got rid of the penny, after that period where they basically got the penny out of the system, it's literally if you pay cash, it just rounds it up to the nearest 5. It either rounds up or rounds down to the nearest 5. So round up or round down. So if it's 97 cents, it rounds up to $1. If it's 97 cents, it rounds down to 95 cents. If it's 98 cents or 99 cents, it rounds up to the $1. Literally, that's all that happens. When they get rid of the penny, they'll basically just round it to the nearest 5.
Apparently, it was costing
so they're
more
not
to produce the
printing
penny.
any more. They're never printing any more pennies. Are they just keeping the pennies now in circulation and that's it? Because pennies cost more to make than they were worth.
Yeah, but what happens when all the Pinterest girls make all of the shiny penny floors and now we don't have any more pennies?
Yeah, what? I'm actually. When was
Everything
the
will probably
last-
just get, knowing America, everything will just get rounded up.
Rounded up. Exactly. Here's my next thing. Guys, office space. We need to start a business where we store all the additional pennies. We'll make billions. It'll be like Bitcoin,
Oh, I
but
didn't
with
know.
pennies.
I didn't know Rich converted to Judaism, but it's teach their
Nick
own.
was talking about shaving off metal, and so I
Oh,
decided
shit.
that I would start going down that direction. I was going to say, Nicholas, there's already a group of people that were shaving the sides off of certain valuable coins and metals, and they got in trouble.
Yeah.
Dude, the last penny was created in November 12th, 2025, and a single penny costs 4 cents to make. Now, that last set, the final pennies struck for the public were issued in a special 3-coin set. These sets included uncirculated versions with Philadelphia and Denver, along with a unique 24-karat gold penny. So that was the 3 pennies. If I don't know how you want it.
Why the fuck were we making pennies if they cost 4 cents to make? It's like when I get a fucking bill from the hospital and I can see that the postage was 78 cents and it's a bill for 19 cents. Why did you just spend 50 cents to fuck with me? I hate it.
That stupid? The penny is the dumbest thing. That is the government summed up in a single product.
Yep.
Hey, we're making pennies.
wrong.
Oh, what is that? It's a currency you can use to spend and buy shit. Awesome. That sounds great. It costs a penny to make? No, it costs 4 cents to make, and we're going to tax you for that to make it happen.
Uh-huh.
How much does it cost to
Fucking
make a
so
dollar?
stupid.
Look, unless it's war, the U.S. government doesn't do anything right. I've come to realize, like, we're really good
True
at one
story
thing
there.
and one thing only, and that's like toppling governments. Can't rebuild shit. We can't fucking figure out our money situation. We can't repair the roads correctly. We're just, you know what? If it needs to be killed, just call us. Like, that's it. That's the only thing we can fucking do correctly.
I do think it's funny where you guys, who are we in debt to? Your question. I gave the real answer, but like the funny answer is the world's basically been giving us trillions of dollars since World War II. And they should, in theory, be able to come to collect. Except now they're coming to the unfortunate realization we've spent all the trillions of dollars building the world's biggest military. So as far as I'm concerned, the world actually runs on the lead standard, and America's winning.
My goodness. Okay, that whole discussion kind of hurt my brain. I will be real. That whole conversation did kind of really hurt my brain. It's like, I'm like, don't know overly much about crypto, but it's like, trying to keep up with some of this shit is hard. It's hard. I try to learn it, but it's like my brain has trouble computing it.
Burns bright, bright.